Hi, I'm Nicole Gutierrez. So as she mentioned, I do work at Yahoo. I've been there for about over 4 years. So I'm here today to share Yahoo Sports and Movable Inc.'s winning strategies as a first-year client. So just a quick few pointers on who I am. So I have been at Yahoo, like I mentioned, for over 4 years as a strategist. My current focus is on Yahoo Sports. I plan the strategy for email and push notifications. This includes Yahoo Fantasy, Core Sports, Yahoo Sportsbook, and Daily Fantasy. I started my career in email marketing in the B2C space, handling operations before moving over into a strategist role. I've worked in e-commerce, B2B, and then at an agency before taking the role in-house and moving back to Yahoo. I really love working in email. I love working at Yahoo. Every day is a new challenge. I enjoy bringing these solutions to our users in their inbox. And lastly, I am an avid fan of our products, having held a fantasy football league for over 9 years with my friends and family. And then most recently, I crushed my husband coming in first, so I'm hoping for this year to run it back again. Okay, so today I'm going to walk you through Yahoo's first year partnering with Movable Inc. So we'll look at how we planned with Movable Inc. in mind, our plan that we set to help us succeed, getting our campaigns across the finish line, and then a quick highlight reel of our Yahoo Sports campaigns, and then a quick look back at the year, so what worked and what we're still working on. When we first started planning with Movable Inc. in mind, there were 4 key areas that we wanted to focus on that we felt would help us drive successful campaigns. First was data. So it was so important that we aligned with our marketing technology team on the available data sources that we had. So our MarTech team handles the data from importing to our ESP to connecting the APIs to Movable Inc. So we laid out the data that we had, and then we went through a wish list of what we wanted. The second piece was proving ROI with the smaller use cases and then working up to our larger use cases. So this helped us prove effectiveness of the campaigns. It helped us fine-tune the process. It also helped us just set expectations for our upcoming campaigns. The third piece is the creative experience. So bringing these use cases to life, we needed to work with our creative team and get them on board and aligned with Movable Inc. We worked with our creative team. We developed a process, which we kicked off with a joint session with Movable Inc. and our creative side. And the fourth piece is streamlining the process. So we needed to get our stakeholders on board. So we work cross-functionally with many different teams. So we wanted to make sure that everybody was aligned. And we also wanted to make sure that we were able to extend our timelines, make sure we had enough time to test, QA, and make sure that we leave room to just make any sort of changes that were needed along the way. So focusing on the data, proving ROI, and then creating the experience and streamlining this process has all helped us set up the plan to succeed. When I was setting up the strategy, I knew a resource for connecting the new data would take some time. So we started small with out-of-the-box use cases, while our MarTech team worked on the data for our larger use cases. So some of our smaller use cases consisted of A/B testing using the Movable Inc. Optimizer, gamifying our emails with a scratch-off. We did some polling to drive engagement, and we also developed some campaigns using our first-party data that we already had access to in our ESP. By leveraging these smaller use cases, we were able to get a better understanding of how the platform works, how it allowed us to take our time to set up campaigns, QA. It even helped us prove effectiveness with more campaigns, cut back our production timeline, and then allowed us to prepare for our larger use cases. The larger use cases that we worked on, our marketing technology team and Movable Inc. connected to set up our APIs. The APIs will bring in the real-time sports content for us based off of a user preference, as well as game schedules with scores and odds. Our next focus was on data management. So of the use cases that we had, we knew that the data that was available in our ESP was our next best thing. So we created a data dictionary for Movable Inc. We provided them the data, and this way they were able to map it back to our user's profile. So for example, if we wanted to connect the NFL schedule to a user's favorite team, or if we wanted to map a school back to the user's Final Four in tourney pick'em. The data was then formatted into a CSV, handed over to Movable Inc., and they were able to import the data on their end, and then we were able to set up the merge tags to connect the data. Another piece of this was testing. So we needed to set up a testing plan because it was important for us to help validate our results. So we set up a testing plan to determine what works for our users. We started small. We did countdown timers, call to actions, background colors, headlines, all using the Movable Ink A/B test optimizer. We were able to get more comfortable with the tool. It helped us learn how to set up campaigns and really work through how to use Movable Ink. The smaller use cases like this were also able to help us figure out our tracking. So we have Movable Ink tracking as well as our own in-house tracking, and we needed to make some adjustments to make sure that we could figure out results. What was so great was that we were able to apply the learnings to our future use cases as well as all of our use cases outside of sports as well. So as I mentioned earlier, we've been working to streamline this process. So we work cross-functionally with many different teams. We work with product, creative, product marketing, our marketing technology team, and our ops team. They are instrumental in us getting these campaigns up and running. So in working with our creative team, we needed to make sure they understood the use cases and how we wanted to leverage Movable Ink. It was important that we set up time as a joint session with Movable Ink. This gave the creative team time to ask questions. We could walk through our use cases, and that way they understood the timelines, the process, and whatever data or assets that we needed from them. At this point, we also pulled in our product marketing team. So we needed buy-in on the use cases. We already knew that these laddered up to their goals, but using Movable Ink would really help us greatly optimize our campaigns, so we needed to get their buy-in. Once we got their buy-in, we needed to get approvals on the creative before we sent those PSCs over to Movable Ink. And then, of course, we needed approvals on the proofs before we went live. Lastly is operations. So because Movable Ink was new, we wanted to make sure our operations team always stayed in the loop, from planning through deployment. So we were able to lean on Movable Ink and our operation team so they could ask any questions throughout the setup and throughout testing. We also recently had some training sessions. This allowed us to get more comfortable in the tool and to make sure that our ops team was okay deploying our campaigns. Not all of this planning came together on our first use case. The process took some time, and in fact, a lot of the use cases became even more advanced with data. But we've been able to take the learnings, apply those to our future campaigns, and that has helped us back into timelines for us to QA and get the campaigns live. But streamlining the process and making sure that everybody stayed in the loop, that's really helped us get our campaigns deployed. Okay, so I'm gonna walk you through some Yahoo Sports highlight reels and some of our winning results. So our first use case is for the Yahoo Sportsbook favorite team matchup. So we have an affiliate partnership with BetMGM, and the goal here is to drive Yahoo users to our affiliate partner. We knew we needed more personalization to drive interest. So before we had Movable Ink, we did a small test of top teams in the NFL, of users that had favorited, and we started to see that this was driving some engagement. But we weren't able to do this at scale. So I knew that when we got Movable Ink, this would be a great first use case. So we leveraged our personalized data of users' favorite teams. So this was already housed in our ESP. And then we showed the matchup of their upcoming game. We tested this against our control creative of a top betting team by state. We passed Movable Ink the NFL game schedule, and then we matched the user's favorite team to pull in the merge tags so we could show the helmet creative and we could show the copy in the email. For the promotion, we just used the user's state to show. Using this image personalization and data sources, we were able to deploy this campaign for the second half of the NFL season. We saw a 30% lift in click-through and click-to-open rate and 100% lift in conversions with this campaign. The second use case for Yahoo Sportsbook was the big game scratch-off. So we wanted to determine if we gamified our sports email, would this drive an increase in engagement to BetMGM? So in working with our creative team, they developed a campaign that had teased the scratch-off in the email. We passed the PSC over to Movable Ink, who set off the scratch-off on their landing page. We tested our control creative, we offered the promotion in email, and the other half of the audience was served the scratch-off. The results were validated. We saw an 89% lift in click-through rate. Our next use case was the Yahoo Fantasy Football season recap. So using data personalization, we wanted to show users how they performed for the remainder of the season. We wanted to maximize the engagement with relevant content. We wanted to create a really meaningful experience for our customers. We've done recaps in the past, but not at this level of personalization. So we used a progression bar to measure against different teams in the user's league. We pulled in the top stats of how the user performed, and then we showed the user's top players from their team. So using the data sources we imported to our ESP, we passed over the data dictionary to Movable Ink. The campaign gave us a chance to work through the process of a recap, as we knew we had something similar coming up for Tourney Pick'em, but on a much shorter timeline. We learned a ton from this campaign. We needed to work cross-functionally with our creative team, operations, our product marketing. It really helped us understand that we needed to increase lead times, and we needed to develop a better process of working with Movable Ink on these types of campaigns. We did run into some data issues, so we actually discovered that we needed to import just a little bit differently for these types of recaps. We set up personalized links in Movable Ink, and then that we noticed we needed extra data for the progression bar to show the totals. The campaign helped set us up for success for the next round of emails. Our next use case is for the Yahoo Tourney Pick'em onboarding. So we kicked off Yahoo Tourney Pick'em with an email to users who registered for the game. So this year, Yahoo introduced a women's game. So we created a dynamic checklist instructing the user on what to do next, and then we checked off what they've already done. There were 6 different versions that we sent out. And when we compared this to our 2022 static onboarding series, we saw a 13% lift in click-through rate from this campaign. Our next use case for Yahoo Tourney Pick'em was the bracket status. This is probably one of the coolest campaigns that I've worked on. So we heard from users that they wanted to receive more emails on how their bracket was performing, which, to be honest, was music to our ears, because users never want more emails from us. So we wanted to make something fun, create a meaningful experience that the user would engage with. So we created a bracket status update. We leveraged Movable Ink capabilities of image personalization, data sources, and polling. When we compared this campaign year over year, we saw a 99% lift in click-through rate, and in total, we drove 45K clicks back to the user's bracket, which was up 200% year over year. We used the data to show the user's final score, which drove them to the leaderboard. And then our creative team created an animation that would strike out any of the teams that were out of the tournament in the user's final 4. We used the data personalization to strike out these teams. And then after the final 4 round, to drive more engagement, we added a poll so users could select who they thought the winner of the tournament would be. So all of these use cases lead up to our big proof of concept that we've been working on with Movable Ink. As we work to unlock these APIs, we're looking to connect sports data that will be able to leverage real-time sports content for users based on a user's preference, allowing us to drive personalization at scale. This is one of the programmatic newsletters that we're looking to stand up this year. We'll leverage sport content APIs, so we'll pull in articles based on a user's favorite team. We'll highlight game schedules with scores and odds. We'll also highlight top fantasy news that's relevant to a user's league. We're close to launching. We're actually improving process, and we're hoping to go live by the end of June. To wrap up the first year with Movable Ink, we saw what went well. We had a ton of success from all the campaigns we ran. We've created some fun and meaningful experiences for our users. And we've created efficiencies across teams from product marketing, creative, and operations that has really allowed us to drive personalization at scale within our emails. We also have some things to still work on. So we're still working on streamlining our process. We do need to get approvals a little bit earlier. And we're also working with our marketing technology team, which I think you can all appreciate, to get more of these real-time data APIs connected. And lastly, we're looking to drive automation with our campaigns so we can help us reduce production time. So stay tuned. We're excited to see what year 2 brings. And don't forget, bring your friends, create your Yahoo Fantasy Football League for the 2023 season. Thank you.